Hello Nutley staff and students, live from the Oakley, Chef Chris Reyna.
I am not a chef, but I have my chef standing right next to me. My name is Chris Reyna. I own the Oakley in Nutley. We opened up May 4th of 2019, so we just celebrated our second anniversary. Chef Moody is, I hired him right at the beginning of the pandemic, and he impressed me so much I elevated him to my GM, so he's my executive chef slash GM. He's going to come on and show you guys how to cook, what are you making?
Chicken piccata.
Chicken piccata, which is on our menu right now. We just switched over to our new summer menu. And I'm going to come back later on and talk about the business aspect of the restaurant a little bit and my experience or lack thereof, and how we've gotten to where we are now. Chef Moody I got from North Carolina. He was a chef down there at a tap house and restaurant. Great experience, and I'll leave it to him. Go ahead, Chef. Knock him out.
Okay. All right, so we're going to be making chicken piccata. First things first, I'm using cast iron pans because I want to make sure to retain the heat, get color on these guys. And also, I don't want to turn the heat up too high because I don't want these fans to kick on and you guys might hear me all muffled. All right, so first things first, I already pounded the chicken out. That way you guys don't hear me like banging with a mallet. But it's pounded out, it's already dredged with flour. And so you got to make sure you coat it, evenly, make sure everything is good there. It's already seasoned, it's got salt, pepper, and everything in it. So we're good there. Up here, we have everything we need. We got the pasta, we have the parsley. I have a little microgreens here, capers, butter, lemon slices, lemon juice, cream, stock, and a little oil, extra virgin olive oil. All right, so first things first. This is a very decadent dish, so there's a lot of butter involved. Like a good amount. You want to make sure you coat the pan completely. Keep the heat even so you're not having any super hot spots, super cold spots. And once you get that butter nice and almost melted, I'm a little overzealous, so I like to just throw it on immediately as soon as I get the butter down perfectly. All right, here we go. A little bit, turn it up. The important thing about cooking anything is controlling the temperature and the heat. That's the secret. I mean, you guys are probably already learning that in school, but if you can control the heat, control the food, everything. Everything's balanced. So we're just going to turn this heat up just a little bit so we get a nice little color on this guy here. Using two. When you come to the restaurant, I usually only do one, but I figure this is a special occasion where I might as well use two. A nice little bowl here for when we're done. All right, so now that we have the heat here, you can let that sit for a while. Now, normally during this time, I like to make the sauce at the same time. Other times, I like putting sauce in here immediately, but just for the sake of making sure that everything comes out nice, and I'm a little nervous, I don't want to burn anything, so I'm going to make sure that everything is good. The secret is to not touch it too much, just let it go, let it ride, let the color get nice. Now, I'm going to start my sauce over here at the same time so I can keep that even and make sure everything comes out very nicely. So, you know what we need? More butter, as always.
Julia Calvin says the secret to fresh cooking is butter, cream, and sugar, right?
That's all it really is. If you're classically trained, it's just butter, mostly. But most of you, it's an Italian town, so you guys are used to butter and wine. All right, so let that go a little bit. This guy go a little bit. So now the heat is getting a little hotter. Heating it up. You see it around the end. You see the breading starting to get a little brown. So I like to kind of just test it, make sure it's good, not over dredging it. A lot of times I like to tilt the pan up a little bit and baste it. Once I flip it, keep everything even. Now I still have this butter over here going for my sauce. I got it on low. I got plenty of butter, so there's no need of rushing that process there. All right, so pick it up a notch a little bit. We're almost there. There we go. I'd say maybe like another minute or two. We will be set to flip and start basting it a little bit, and I'll put that on low, let that sit for a little bit. Start working on my sauce, and the pasta goes with it. All right, so this is probably one of my favorite dishes to make, honestly. It's just simple thing. It's nice for the springtime. It's nice to impress people. You know, like, oh my God, the chicken's so good. It's so moist and tender.
It's good to make for that big party yesterday too. You think a lot of it at once?
Yeah, we just recently had a giant party, and we made a bunch of chicken franchise. So now if you look, the color is pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy over a little bit and put this guy in the center and let him brown up a little bit more. Just like that. All right. And there we go. So that's about right. So that's about where I want it. So again, we're using cast iron pan. So what I'm going to do is turn that heat down a little bit because the heat is already in the pan. And I'm going to add more butter, as usual. So there you go. So now you got your buttery, chickeny, breaded guy right here. I'm going to use this real fast to baste it just a little bit. There we go. One of my first jobs as a cook right after culinary school was like this Italian restaurant in Weathersfield, Connecticut called the Angry Owlie. They are no longer open. Unfortunately, I learned a lot from the chef there. He was a giant guy, huge Italian. They had a wedding singer that would come sing Sweet Caroline all the time, like the same song right at the end of close. And he was always like drunk and whatnot and kind of grabby. But the food there was phenomenal. I made, they used to have this, what was it called? A grilled chicken marsala that was phenomenal. And I had that job as my first job as a cook. And I told him, I said, I want to learn how to make this because this is my favorite thing. And I've made it, I should have made that today, honestly, if I'm thinking about it. But I figured I'd do something that's, we have on our menu. Anyway, the reason why I bring that up is because Italian cooking is very decadent. It's one of my favorites. And it's also like one of the places you'll work first. If you know how to roll dough, if you know how to make your own pasta, you know how to make chicken, breaded chicken, you can work anywhere as long as you know how to do that. And being from North Carolina, there are like maybe 6 good Italian restaurants, none of which make their own pasta. But you can get a job there as long as you know how to pound chicken out, bread it, and make sure that your sauce is not breaking. You'll be fine. All right, so that's going there. So we're going to leave that guy there for a little bit. Now all this butter is melted over here, unfortunately, so I'm going to add more butter and start the sauce process. So for this sauce, what I'm going to do is essentially melt this butter down, give myself a little cream here. Add a little bit of that in there. Right. And then I'm going to do a little salt and pepper right on in there. Let's get that going. Get the heat going. I have a little stock here as well that I'm going to use. Add that. And then I'm going to add a little lemon juice to that. There we go. All right, we're trying to get up a little bit, and then I'm going to mix it up. Bounce it with butter. Get it thick. Use some of this flour here as well, just to make sure it's all even. The important thing is to make sure you're maintaining your heat, maintaining your mix, and maintaining the integrity of the sauce by making sure you are not overworking it. Otherwise it'll break and then you got to do the whole process over again. And it doesn't work well when you're working the line and you have to make pan sauces. It doesn't help. So you got this guy going right here. You see it's already breaking a little bit. It's a little overzealous, but that's fine. I'll add more butter to it and we'll be good here. So this guy is still good. Turn that down. I actually turned the heat off there. That's just all residual heat from the pan itself, so that'll help it out a lot. Mounting it with more butter. Keeping it even. Making sure everything is good there. So, yeah. Sauces are important. If you're really good at sauces, you can become a saucier. They are like kitchen generals. These guys come in, they work maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. They make all the sauces in the kitchen. They usually wear berets and neckerchiefs. They're jerks. But they are really talented, and you are not allowed to make a sauce without there to say so. They freak out because that's the one thing that they do. They don't wash dishes, they don't do anything. They just come in and make sauces. That's actually my dream job, besides being a chef. They have none of the responsibilities, but all the fun. All right, so this sauce here is thickening up a little bit here. So I'm putting so much butter into it. I need to add a little bit more cream to it just to keep it balanced. There we go. All right, so we got a sauce now. I also have a little garlic I'm going to add to it in a second just to make sure it's all even here. There we go. A little more of that. Beautiful. All right, so now you see that the sauce is actually a little too thick, so I'm going to thin it out a little bit more. With a little more stock, actually, not even cream. Let's do that. All right. Chicken stopped cooking just now. You can still hear it sizzling a little bit, but this way here it's not overdone. So, now that everything is even, I'm going to get a little taste real fast. Yeah, that needs a little salt and pepper, and then we're good to go on that sauce. So, I've added all the things that we need to keep the sauce balanced. So now, I'm going to add the pasta into it and let it cook up a little bit. I like to make sure that the sauce is perfect before I add the noodles to it, because you can't really take that away once it's added. It's like salt. You don't want to over add too much salt. You want to under season all the time. Under season all the time, and then balance it out later, because you can always add more. You can't take away. That's especially true with salt. If you ever over salt something, that dish is ruined.
Chef, can I hit you with a couple questions as you're going?
Yes, sir.
That are coming in. A couple of our culinary guys are asking, what's your daily schedule like? And what do you have to do in a day as it relates to the restaurant?
That is a loaded question. The real answer is I get here a lot of times, well, not necessarily here. I have my guys make a prep list the night before, and then I have to get to Restaurant Depot first thing in the morning. They open up at 7 a.m. normally, Monday through Friday? Yes, Friday. Saturday open up at 8, and Sunday they open up at 9. I usually try to go twice a week. And then from there I get here, I meet my prep girl here. She's usually here at 9 a.m. if she's not hitting traffic. And we start prepping right off rip. It depends on if the day I'm the GM chef or I'm just a chef that day, but if I'm the GM chef, I usually go up, open up all the doors upstairs. We have the deck, put the chairs outside out front, grab all the banks, make sure all the receipts, or all the banks have receipts. Then I come in here and check on the prep girl again. I take care of the big prep. I don't have a morning dishwasher, so I usually do dishes at the same time we're doing prep. And then we also have lunch service at noon, so I'm doing prep, lunch, dish, and I'm checking on all the guys that are here in the morning. So my days usually start, and I don't sleep really well anyway, because you never do in this industry. So I'm usually up by like 5, and I usually put my head in my bed probably about 11:30-ish. But to be honest, like, the actual work doesn't start until the rush starts. So it's like, you know, most of the day I got my music playing, we're prepping, everything's great, but at the same time, you know, we're having a great time. And the thing is, you just have to keep a great time, make sure everyone has great morale. You have a good team, you can work all day and not even realize you've been here 18 hours. So 18 hours is normally my day, 18 plus is what I'm looking at here.
It's a ton of hard work, but it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. You put out good food, you make people happy. Sometimes they poke their head into the kitchen and say, oh my God, the food's so good. The table loves your food. They see you at Stop and Shop sometimes, because sometimes I have to go to get like avocados real fast where I can't go to Depot. And people just lose it, they love it. So I'm adding a little parsley to this, just a sauce, a little bit. And I'm gonna put, let's see what else. Oh, that's for the last part. So, my sauce is done. It's nice and balanced. The chicken's done all the way through. So I'm gonna cut this off. Now it's time for plating. Plating is important when you run a restaurant, because something, my culinary teacher, Chef Moore, would always tell me, you eat with your eyes first. Something don't look good, you ain't gonna eat it. That's not true in the kitchen, because normally, you know, we don't really get breaks. We just eat wherever. So most of the time, we just eat whatever's around, whatever's left over a trash can, and it's usually cold. And it probably does not look good anymore, but we still eat it because we're starving. And we're grateful for it. All right, so the pasta's in there with the nice sauce. I got 2 of these gorgeous chickens right here. Get these guys out of here. Plate that up right there. And we're done. But yeah, 18 plus is what I'm looking at normally on a normal day. Sometimes if the guys are good and they have it, you know, I get to go home early, watch some TV, play some video games. And I do sneak in the gym maybe like twice a week, but it's always super early when I do that.
How many days a week is that?
It's like once, if that.
No, I mean,
Oh.
18-hour day. Was that 3 or 4 days a week?
Oh,
And then day that's
I would say out of my week, I probably do 18, maybe 3 of those days are full 18-hour days. You know, 'cause I have a sous chef and I got, you know, strong line cooks, I can handle it. So they'll be like, they'll basically tell me, hey chef, you've been here too long, go home. I'm like, all right, cool. And I go home. But that is the deal there. And to be extra fancy, I'm gonna do a little, this guy right here on there. And this, my friends, is a complete dish. We are all set. Now I'm hungry.
Smells great.
The other question that came in was, what do you think about when you're creating a menu? What factors go into creating? You just mentioned this
Yes.
menu. So what did you think about creating that menu?
The tone, and by that I mean there's a seasonal tone to menus. Like my favorite menus are spring menus because they're usually light, they're usually colorful, they're usually not too heavy. You know, because most people who are going out during the summertime and springtime, they want to go drinking. So you don't want anything too heavy. You don't want to be putting things on the menu that are going to like slow you down. But it has to appeal to people who like to go out and sit outside on the terrace. So we have this gorgeous terrace here. So they want to go out and see, oh my God, look at this delicious thing right here. Let's have this. So colors, anything local that's good here. I didn't know that New Jersey has the best tomatoes in the country. I did not know that. That wasn't a thing that I knew about. And once I learned that, I was like, okay, well, tomatoes. Build menus around what's local, what you can get, what's easy to use on multiple items. There has to be cross-utilization for product on each item for the most part. That way you're not buying new product for something on your dish. If you have something on your menu that requires all new items and it doesn't sell too well, now you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting your food costs on just a pretty dish. So everything has to have cross-utilization. It has to be springy, has to be nice. I want to take a picture of this in a second. But that's where that is. So, yeah. And then for the winter and fall seasons, you want to do something heavier. So that's how that works, normally. I want to take a picture of this real fast.
We're especially focusing on cross-utilization right now because it's very hard to hire kitchen staff right now. It's a national problem right now.
Yes.
And so when you have a limited amount of staff in your kitchen, you can't have a menu that's so expansive that you can't put food out in a decent amount of time.
It has to be. We've recently reduced our menu to things that take, like this dish right here alone took me how long? 4 or 5 minutes? You have to have things on the menu that take that long because when people are coming in and they want to eat really quickly, you want to make sure that, okay, I can send these dishes out quickly. We still have apps. I can send the apps out in 2 minutes. So working the expo station, you're like, I can send these items out in 5 minutes, send those apps out, then this is going to take the longest. We'll put that first. Like there's a bunch of things you have to do, but when you're running a what I have now, a 2-3 man line right now, you have to make sure that every item that you put out is top quality, but also gets out quickly. So if I use chicken for this dish, I'm going to use the chicken for that dish. You can't have, let's bring Chilean sea bass in the menu, and you can't use anything from that menu, from those items anywhere else. So cross-utilization is extremely key.
Plus, we're making everything from scratch in here.
Yeah.
We don't pre-make and keep it hot. We everything that is ordered, we make from scratch that minute. Now we prep the meats and the food so they're marinated or trimmed up and they're ready to be thrown on the stove. But we're not pre-cooking things and then just throw them in a microwave. There's not a microwave in this kitchen.
Not anywhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm trying to get some marketing questions in here then. See what else came in. One more for Chef.
Yes.
Who is the chef that you admire most and why?
The chef that I admire most? That's a loaded one too. My dad, I'm being honest, my dad was a chef. My dad was a chef and a musician. A lot of, we've just recently started doing a lot of work for the Eva's Village. And we've been doing a lot of work for, what's that other church we're doing on Tuesday?
St. John's.
St. John's, just like charity work. My dad he would always take us to St. Vincent de Paul Soup Kitchen in Middletown, Connecticut when we lived there. And he'd make us volunteer like every weekend. You know, right after football practice, I'd have to go there and cook the food. And so he'd go there, and his setup was pretty much, you know, like this. But say he had a giant flat top, and he'd make soups, he'd make pastas, all that stuff from scratch. And he was teaching us how to cook, but we also had to like wipe the walls down and just help people out. And he made things out of nothing, like literally. You know, the community would come in and they'd bring like fresh produce, whatever they had, and he'd look at it and say, "All right, well, guess what? This is what we're having for dinner tonight." And he'll just make food, and people will come from everywhere and just eat the food. And that is really one of the things that inspired me to become a chef. It's like I can come into a kitchen and, you know, just create. Another job that I had in North Carolina, where it was this guy who didn't really know how to run a business. He was I don't know what his problem was, but he lived like a block away from a farm. And so the farm guys would say, "Hey, we have all these tomatoes, or we have all these potatoes we can't use. We're going to donate them to you guys. You can have them. You know, it's scrap." I'm like, "All right, cool." We'd make whatever we can out of it and feed everybody. It was like a cafe. It was called Marquee Market. I think that place is closed too, actually. But I remember one day he brought beets. I had like 25 pounds of beets. And I was like, okay, culinary school brain, borscht. Let's make borscht. I made a borscht with some sausage, and it was a hit. And some lady came into the kitchen. This is Fayetteville, North Carolina now. So some lady came in, and she was Russian, and she's like, "Are you the chef?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I haven't had borscht this good since I left the country." And I was like, "That's insane," because I just made it on the fly. I just looked at my phone, borscht, these things, okay, make that, and it was great.
Chef's wife is vegan too, and so he can make any kind of vegan material into an amazing vegan dish. We have some great vegan dishes on our menu, and whenever we do a new menu, he creates these new vegan dishes that are crazy good. I'm not vegan at all. I like my meat, but I eat his vegan dishes because they're that good. Because he's got a higher authority. He's making vegan stuff for his wife, so he's got to make sure that his vegan dishes are top notch.
Yeah, she won't come in here unless there's something vegan on the menu. So I make it happen.
So Chris, some entrepreneurship, for both of you guys, entrepreneurship and marketing questions. Talk a little bit about how COVID changed the way you're working and the business in general. Do you want Chris to do this?
Yeah, if you
Come around? Sure.
Yeah, it might be a little bit easier.
Sure.
I'll get you better. There you go. You get the shot too.
COVID actually was it was hard, but it was a good opportunity for this place also. We had just opened up May of 2019, so 11 months into our restaurant, COVID struck. But it's funny, the restaurant was packed, before COVID, the restaurant was packed on Friday and Saturday nights, and we have 250 seats. We were jammed and not making a dime. So your culinary teachers will probably tell you, in a restaurant business, the menu is 100% of the business. If your menu is poorly constructed, your restaurant will fail. Before you even build a restaurant, you need a menu first, which I'm not a restaurateur. I'm a 2-year-old restaurateur. I'm a commercial real estate person. I decided to make it a go and try my hand at restaurant business with this place. And I was shocked when my architect and my designers were telling me, you need to have a menu before we can design the place. You design the kitchen around the menu. You design your front of house around the menu. Are you going to be upscale, downscale, dive? You know, you need to have your menu first before you can design anything. And we did that. We designed the place for a gastropub menu, and it works well. The design's perfect. The only problem with our menu was my old manager was going off of percentage profitability. So in the business, you want to be, your food cost should be about 30% of your final menu costs or prices. And that's all well and good. You do want to stay within that, but just as importantly is your gross profit per head. So you might charge $9 for an item, and it only costs you $3 to make, so you're within that 30% realm. but you're only making $6 for someone sitting in a seat out there on a Friday night for an hour and a half. I need to make more than $6 profit off of that head when I have no seats left. So I need to make at least $15. So what I did to fix the menu during the pandemic, let me do this, was create two. We only had one menu, a lunch and dinner menu was the same menu. So there were a lot of sandwiches on our dinner menu and people were going towards a $15 sandwich. I needed to sell them a $25 meal, not a $15 meal. So now we have a lunch menu and a dinner menu, and the dinner menu has a burger on it. It's probably the cheapest thing we have, but it doesn't offer the chicken sandwich and some other cheap things that you can get at lunchtime. So that was a huge fix, and for the first time we're actually profitable like this month. Because of the pandemic, obviously we weren't profitable during that period at all. But the pandemic, again, allowed us to take a breather, reevaluate the menu, make the restaurant a profitable venture instead of something that's going to fail, in another year or two. So now we're on good footing.
Could you talk a little bit about social media, like how you handle social media, who's doing it for you, how it affects your business?
A good friend of mine whose kids are in Nutley's public school system, she handles my social media for me because I'm not very good at social media, and she's better, and she's tied into the community. So it's important not to just hire somebody that's social media savvy, but someone who actually has ties to the community you're serving, because they know the parents groups, the sporting groups, all the volunteer groups, and they can get the message out to all the right people. And we run a lot of fundraisers to support our community, and she's able to help us with that, knows who we should direct our volunteerism towards, or our support towards. Social media is good and bad in this business. It's pre-pandemic, we were getting a lot of reviews. 90% of them were positive, 10% of them were negative. And in this business, you're going to fail. On a busy Friday night and a busy Saturday night, when you have 200 or 300 covers, 1 or 2 people are not going to like their food. They're going to say it's undercooked or overcooked. Whether it is or not, doesn't matter. To them, it was undercooked or overcooked. Or the food's going to take too long to get to them. And before, the good reviews outweighed the bad reviews. During the pandemic, something weird has happened where we almost know, like, I'm here most nights, people are loving our food, our music, they're smiling, they're leaving, they're happy, but they don't write a review. The only people that are writing reviews during this pandemic are people that don't have a good experience. They waited 50 minutes for their food instead of 40 minutes for their food. Their burger was a little bit overcooked or undercooked, and they post it on social media and they write this rambling, terrible review. I don't know why that is, but social media right now has not been terribly friendly to us recently. But I don't care, because I have 400 people leaving with smiles every weekend, and I'm more focused on that than I am on.
Word of mouth is always the best
Yes.
way to build a business.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of repeat customers. And they don't come back just for our food. We're not just a restaurant for food. We're an experience restaurant. We have live music 2 nights a week, and it's a lot of Nutley, 20-year-olds who are great musicians who are coming here and playing for their neighbors. We have a cornhole league on Tuesdays. A lot of locals come here and throw cornhole bags and have a great time. We have trivia night on Wednesdays, and we're doing karaoke on Thursdays. So there's always kind of something fun to do here, and our outdoor terrace is just a nice environment to have a cocktail or a small bite to eat and just enjoy the weather. So we're more of an experiential restaurant than just coming here and like you would go to Wendy's and grab a burger and just stuff your belly. We're not that kind of place. You come here, you have a cocktail, you sit down, you relax, you listen to some live music, or you sing a song during karaoke, and you get a nice meal and a nice cold beer or a nice soda for you kids. And enjoy yourself.
So one of the other more serious questions was, just logistically, when you started the place, you talked a little bit about designing the menu first and then designing the kitchen around. As far as the equipment that we see here and how you designed, how did you invest in that? Did you go purchase, lease, how do you go about?
Sure, that's a great question, because when we first designed the place and the menu, I didn't want to do pizza because there's a million pizza places in Nutley. I didn't want to compete with the pizza. I wanted to do something different. That's why our menu is generally different from 99% of the restaurants in Nutley and this area. But I was my GM at the time talked me into doing pizza because pizza is a very great profit center, and people in a gastropub like to sit at the bar late at night and get a bar pie. And we do good pizza, actually. I'm proud of our pizza. I think we do compete with the great pizzerias in the neighborhood. So we invested in a pizza oven, which is a big investment. But it's paid off for us. We use it for other things other than pizza too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I purchased all the equipment. The kitchen, if you want to know numbers for rent, this was a gut renovation. This kitchen was disgusting when I bought the Park Pub. It had 3 layers of grease on the walls. We had to grease the walls 3 times to get all the grease off the walls. And the hood didn't work. This is a brand new hood. This hood hasn't worked in a decade probably. That's why there was so much grease on the walls, because it wasn't sucking the grease out. This place was gross. We gutted it. Every piece of equipment here is new except for our walk-in box is original, and we had to upgrade that too. It cost about $100,000, maybe $120,000 to completely rebuild and re-outfit all the equipment in here, and I purchased it all outright, not lease.
Awesome. So, I think that's all the questions that came in.
Okay.
So more social media questions. Last question. How are you influencing social media, or what promotional strategies are you using to entice happy customers to review your restaurant and come to your restaurant?
We're not. I'm not the guy that tells everybody that has a good experience, please go back and write a review on it. I mean, I should be probably. Again, this is not my main job. I'm a commercial real estate developer, investor, and I'm learning this business on the fly. And there's some things I'm not a marketing guy. I mean, I know you have marketing students on. You guys could help me more than I can help you. You have a lot more knowledge about marketing just from your teachers than I have. I'm doing my best. I'm not, I have an ad in the Nutley Neighbors. I use the local Nutley publications to advertise, more for supporting them than getting the word out. I want to be a good local place where neighbors can come down and have a good, affordable meal and experience. So if you like the experience you have here, great, come back. If you don't, that's fine too. We're not going to be for everybody. I'm not trying to be for everybody. I really built this place around what I like, the kind of place I like to go, which is a neighborhoody kind of pub that has good, affordable food, not too high end, not $50. You can come out of here. You can come here 2 or 3 nights a week and not break your budget. And we made a conscious, again, going back to the menu, that was a conscious decision. We wanted to have entrees in the $20 range, not the $40 range. We want to have shareable appetizers that if you can't even afford a $20 range, you can come in here and get 3 tacos for $14. And a beer for $6. So for $20, you can have a really good experience, listen to live music, and fill your belly. And it's not Taco Bell tacos. It's scratch-made quality food by a real chef, not a bunch of line cooks that aren't putting thought into it.
Most of the social media comes from Janice, but if you see a picture of like food or like reels or whatnot, it's usually me.
Yeah.
I'm the guy doing it normally. I'll make some food and I'll go to the table and I'll just get the right angle, portrait mode with the iPhone, make it look nice, and then we go from there. But pretty much that's what we do. I mean, I put pictures of food up, we do our best, but we're not really big.
There's a way to, you can offer people some kind of discount for if they post on Yelp while they're there, you can give them a free. I'm also a big proponent of keep it simple. That just adds so much more of a burden to your front of house staff to be able to check their online posts and then go to the POS and get a manager to agree, to approve of a comp. If you like us, great. If you don't, that's okay. I'm fine with that. I think we're gonna have a lot more people that like us than that don't like us.
Well, guys, thank you so much for hosting us. On behalf of your students, our faculty, thank you to the faculty, actually, guys, for logging on and making this happen. We really appreciate it. Thanks to Mr. Conti for being here to film us. But most of all, thank you, Mr. Rain and Chef Moody, for having us at the Oakley. And we look forward to getting some students down here to work for you guys.
We need you guys.
Yeah.
We totally need you guys to come down. I've already hired probably a half dozen of you, but we need more. So come on down. We need a dishwasher. We just had a kid from Nutley High School, he's a junior. He was our dishwasher for the last 6 months. He wanted to save up enough money to buy a car. He has done so. So it's we pay well, and he was great. So we would love to have more of your students come down. We really enjoy having them work with us.
Well, we're going to make this, hopefully this started a really good relationship. So
Good.
we appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.